There we go. All right. So, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for coming tonight. We are doing a class on gardening with essential oils, and this is one of my huge passions. Of course, I'm not Rosetta Matthews, I'm Jackie Aiken, and Rosetta will be with us. She's suffering from laryngitis right now, actually recovering from laryngitis. So, we're making her not be talking at the moment so that she can talk hopefully in the next few days. And I really was happy to grab this class because I use the oils in my garden pretty much daily, and they've become a real staple with everything that I do in my garden. So I am super excited to share this with you guys tonight. This is a nice short class, so we're just going to kind of whip through some really fun recipes that
Mm.
I use in my garden and just kind of tell you guys a little bit about the things that I've found that have really started to work for me. So I am just going to share my screen here. And we are going to just get started. All right. Can you see that okay, Adeline?
Yes, I can. Thank you. Yeah.
Excellent. Excellent. All right. So, gardening with doTERRA. There are so many ways that we can use oils in our garden. And when you think about it, oils are made from plants, and plants work well with other plants. They, in fact, work really well with particular plants to do things like help them grow, encourage photosynthesis, um, end up sort of managing the bugs around, things like that. And of course, the main thing about this is that we're not using chemicals. We're not putting anything in our garden that we wouldn't put in our body. And so that's a huge stress off of our toxic load and a really great way to be able to feed our families and to share vegetables with people that you're not giving any chemicals to, and even tips, right? So, when we talk about reducing our toxic load, we really want to watch our cleaning products, our pest control, we don't even realize how many chemicals are on our fruits and vegetables when we get them from a store. We can actually use essential oils to even clean some of those chemicals off. So, inside, outside, there are many, many ways that chemicals have sort of invaded our lives. And this is a really beautiful way. It's yummy, it's natural, it smells great, and it encourages so many things like pollinating and just the natural growth of a plant that it has become truly one of my favorite ways to both reduce the toxic load in our life as well as increase our garden and our outdoor enjoyment. Because man, oh man, it's so great to be outside, but Manitoba, especially, we've got some pretty big things to deal with, like seasonal threats. I don't know if you guys have walked around lately and tapped on a pine tree, but holy smokes, the pollen just it dusts off in clouds. It's incredible.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that Tri-Ease is a wonderful way. I used to tell people take 3 drops each of peppermint, lavender, and lemon in a capsule as an allergy pill. But doTERRA's made it really easy by having the Tri-Ease gel caps already having those amount of oils in them. So supernatural way to just pop one of those, and it's like an antihistamine that is going to be a preventative, but also something that will help to ease the symptoms right away when you do already have an allergic reaction. I'll take one of these just before I go out in the garden these days because I'm sneezing out there. I'll take one before I go out with my horses because I'm allergic to them. So we use these sort of regularly during the day, where a doctor used to just prescribe me to take like 3 allergy pills. And I was like, that seems wrong, but no, no, go ahead. So I'd much rather do this. When I feel things like that itchy throat, you get that itchy palate, or the back of your throat gets kind of itchy, or you're having just a little bit of sinus stuff going on and you're pretty sure it's allergies, you can just use a roller ball or use those oils in your diffuser as well. So you would put 3 drops each of the lemon, lavender, and peppermint into a diffuser to just be like an allergy bomb throughout your house. If everybody's suffering, or even if there's just a couple people that are, sneezing and coughing, and you're like, yeah, I think that's allergies, throw that in the diffuser, and if that eases it up, that it likely is just allergies. And the other thing you can do is in a 10 ml roller ball, you would take 10 drops of lemon, 10 drops of lavender, 10 drops of peppermint, and we throw 5 drops of tea tree in there just to sort of round out any molds or funguses and really get that antihistamine reaction going in the body wherever you want. You can put it up the spine, you can put it on your neck, on your pulse points, or simply on your feet as a preventative. If it's something that you maybe don't want to take the capsule, don't have the capsules, you can literally just put this roller on the bottoms of your feet and it will help you to fight those seasonal threats that we get. So let's talk about these nasty things that are flying around outside right now. We've got water, so man, do we have mosquitoes. I've not seen mosquitoes like this in years. Now, I have a little bottle of that TerraShield repellent, and I am in love with it. Not only does it smell good, gives you some protection. You know, if anybody's ever wondering about EMF protection, all this kind of stuff, TerraShield's a really good one, even to help you keep your boundaries. If you're a person that says yes all the time, TerraShield's a wonderful oil as just a protective, but it works amazing for mosquitoes. So I have taken my bottle of TerraShield and I have done things like add a little patchouli if the flies are really bad. But my favorite thing to use is just this on its own. That spray that they sell all on its own is made, I don't know how they make it because I've tried to replicate it, but it is incredible, just like it is. So I strongly encourage, if you haven't tried this, get some TerraShield, use it with your kids, use it with your pets, use it with you, whether you're camping, just getting outside, whatever it is, trying to get into the garden. This is incredible and chemical free. So you can get the bottle on its own and mix up your own lotion. Some people just put it in the hard coconut oil and they'll spread it on their skin. Some people have used it straight up. I just find it lasts longer if you mix it with a little bit of coconut oil in your hands. You can spread it around, but that spray, it's second to none. It is just incredible. And for being out in the garden, I would just literally use the spray because you need the good stuff when you're out there these days. We can't be messing around because they'll get you. They'll get you.
Oh,
Now,
yeah.
oh yeah. Now, in talking about those bugs, the other thing that's getting us out there these days is the sun. I don't usually burn, but I've been burning. Like it's that sun is hot. Going out for an hour like we could last year, it's intense this year. I don't know what's going on, but um it doesn't matter because we finally have sunscreen through doTERRA. Now, it was supposed to be released at the beginning of June, but it is the beginning of July now that they're calling for. So July 1st, this will be available to us. If you're in leadership, you may even be able to get it a little bit sooner. We're not 100% sure on that. We haven't heard. However, it is worth the wait. They have taken all of the things that I used to buy separately to make this sunscreen. I used to buy the zinc oxide. I used to go and get the carrot seed oil and like, trying to sort of find all these things. It was really difficult and really expensive. So the price point is good on these. There's a different SPF. Basically, there's a face and body stick and lotion. And then there is just a body spray. So the face and body lotion is set at a 30 SPF, which is beautiful. The stick, though, is a little bit higher. It's a 40 SPF. So if I was going to be out for a long time in the garden, I would probably go with the stick, and that's what I would be applying to my face. The spray is virtually exactly the same as the lotion. It's just in a spray form. So they joke and say it's for the fast ones, the spray. If they're not going to be sitting long, spray them down. That's great. You know, if you're going to the beach or something, that's a really easy thing to do. But if you're going to be in the garden, use the lotion. You can just apply it wherever you want. And you're going to end up getting all of that goodness. I'm just going to let somebody else in here. Yeah, so finally we have sunscreen. I was super, super excited to hear this. And the other thing we used to do, hey, Michelle, welcome. The other thing we used to do was have to use lavender, have to make up our own sort of after sun lotions. And now, now we have an after sun spray. So it's amazing. We can use that if we've burnt, right? End up helping to heal the skin. There's helichrysum in these. Like it's gorgeous. It has a beautiful natural SPF. And people that go away when they're going to Mexico, they're not allowed to use sunscreens unless they're reef safe. And this is all of it. So this is a really beautiful thing that we have added into our product line. I was so excited to see that sunscreen was here. So,
Mhm.
like I say, July 1st, that'll be available. Did you have a question, Adeline? Sorry.
I'm sorry. No, no.
No, okay, sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Later.
Got it.
Okay,
So
sorry.
awesome. Yeah, no, anytime. And now if we don't, because we can't get that yet, if you are burnt right now, go get a little 4-ounce spray bottle, just a little guy, and you can mix these oils in. So you can use frankincense, 10 drops of lavender, 5 of peppermint, 5 of geranium. Then you top it up with a half of an ounce of fractionated coconut oil. And you can use water or you can use witch hazel. I find witch hazel's a little bit more drying. It aerates it a little bit better. Water, it does mix, but I find the witch hazel works really well. So either one, some people don't have witch hazel at home, so you can still make this really easily just with your coconut oil and your water. But the lavender, the geranium, the frankincense are also healing, and then that peppermint is cooling. So it's a beautiful little after sun spray that you can use on your own right now. It works very, very well. So we're going to jump right into gardening hacks. Now, this is going to be lots of little recipes and stuff. So like I say, feel free to just take a little screenshot, and
Mhm.
we can go back to them after. If you missed a recipe, just let me know. So now it seemed sort of redundant to me to be cleaning my gardening tools in the spring, because in the fall, I probably had used them on something, but they sat outside in the winter in a bin kind of thing. So I figured, well, they froze anything that was on it. But what I didn't do over the last couple of years was use this cleaner, and I really wish I had, because even though I don't think I had fungus in my soil, I think when I went and used the tools again that it may have reintroduced. Because I even moved tomatoes to make sure that I wasn't going to put them in an area that had been prone to the bottom end rot or any of those kind of things going on. And I really feel like my tools might have been one of the things that sort of spread that soil fungus back around again. So I tend to now, after I'm digging in any area, I clean them every time. So I'll just dunk. I have a pail, pardon me, with a couple liters of water in it. I threw 10 to 15 drops of Melaleuca in there, and I just throw my tools in, give them a really good rinse, let them sit for like about 10 minutes, and then I kind of just dry them off and let them go back into. So you can clean your pots. If you're going to replant into pots and you don't want to spend a ton of time, you could just make this little potion up, just dunk them, soak them, keep on going. You can keep on using them. It's awesome. So, and that's just tea tree oil, right? So you can use that. Yeah, the importance of this, and we usually learn the hard way, right? Where it's like we actually learn things by failing or by kind of going, I think I need to change this. And yeah, the cleaning is very, very important, because it does, especially fungus spreads. It really spreads. Yeah, absolutely. So now we are into some fun stuff. So pests. All people ask me, what can I do for mice? Now, peppermint is your key. They do like to make holes in your garden. They do like to get into campers and stuff over the winter. So all you need to do is take a couple of drops on a cotton ball and place it where you don't want the mice to be. So even if it's this says mouse holes, nests, I put them everywhere. I put little cotton balls in any cracks in my basement. I put little cotton balls in our campers. I put them in closets, anywhere that, anything is going to go. Peppermint is really a good one. Nothing likes peppermint as far as animals and bugs. So you can almost always kind of get away with peppermint with that. And again, you can make up sprays. We do have some later, but a really good way to just kind of keep mice from coming back is to tuck a cotton ball with peppermint, and they won't go back into that hole. So it works really, really well. Um, mice are cute, but we just don't need them around in certain places, right?
Oh, they're not
So,
cute.
yeah, exactly. They're not so cute. So, snails, slugs, moths, weevils, all of these guys that like to bury in when we have anything on the ground that is not tilled or not cleaned up, like I think my raspberry patches, some of my soil where you see little creepy crawlies going around in there. And the problem is those little creepy crawlies turn into flying creepy crawlies that are going to eat our plants, like those lace flies and things like that. We can eradicate them right now by actually, so this, you can actually spray oils, just to answer your question, Michelle, spraying oils right on cauliflower and stuff. I do have some that we're going to do that with. This is going to be more your groundwork. So this is going to be your groundwork before you start using it on any of your plants for growth. You're going to want to eradicate some of those creepy crawlies. This isn't going to harm worms, things like that. They can go down deep. It's those weevily beetles and things that crawl around in the weeds and in the old leaves. And even I sprayed down my strawberry patch with this, just to get rid of ants, things like that. We do have more ant sprays, but patchouli and cedarwood will keep flies and flying insects away. So if you think the cedarwood and patchouli, it's going to, the cedarwood is even good for like moths inside. So you can make a spray bottle by just adding, depending on the bottle, you would add about 3 to 5 drops per ounce. So just kind of depending on the amount of spray that you're making, that is kind of what I go for. If I'm doing it for soil, I'll put more like 5 drops per ounce, just because I really want to penetrate into that soil. And I try and do it before it's going to rain, or after it's rained, so that you kind of miss it being rained on right after it, like sort of, on a nice sunny day is the perfect time to do it. Because of course the rain is going to wash some away some of those oils and dilute them. So you want it to sort of stay on as strong as you can for a little while. So this is really good, especially if you've had a past problem with lace flies and things like this coming up and eating your cruciferous vegetables, like even the kale. If that disappeared on you last year, do your soil with some cedarwood and patchouli. This is really perfect for the little garden beds, not so much like I do it in my huge garden too, but it is really good for those raised beds. Now, caterpillars are a little bit different. When we talk about spiders, you can get spider mites, you can get some other beetles, you can get the aphids. Aphids were really bad last year, and the year before. So that was something that we did use quite a bit. And this is peppermint or spearmint. So now if you used cedarwood with some peppermint or spearmint, you're fine. You're going to sort of eradicate anything that's going around. If you happen to know that it's spiders versus wormy weevils, you would end up using the peppermint spearmint. If it was just kind of, you wanted to kind of get everything, you would end up using peppermint, and then you would use your cedarwood or your patchouli. So you can absolutely use them together. It's just, some people have trouble with certain things, and these are the ones that are kind of recommended. So again, same thing, 3 to 5 drops per ounce, and an ant spray. So I've had to use this quite a bit. We have lots of ant hills, and the nice thing is if you have ants, you're not going to have aphids, because the ants eat the aphids. So if you have a lot of aphids, you generally don't have a lot of ants. So we're going to switch right over to the peppermint in this case, where we're wanting to eradicate these ants. You take a 4-ounce spray bottle, end up using witch hazel as your liquid, and you're going to use peppermint. Now, again, I will add another 5 drops when I'm really dosing a hill, because I will just spray the crap out of it. I get those big plant sprayers and I just go to town. I put like 30 drops in there. I top it up with water and I just blast it. And we have way less problems. In fact, in the beginning, like 2 weeks ago, I had tons of ants. I've been doing this consistently, probably every few days, aside from the big rain that we had. And my ants are they're hardly even there anymore. I was sitting in my garden in my strawberries yesterday and I didn't have one crawl on me. The other day, they were literally crawling in my shoes like 2 weeks ago. So it does work, and I've used it consistently. And especially if you're going to be spraying an area, the peppermint is really, really nice. The other thing I like using for some of these weevily, beetly type bugs and ants is diatomaceous earth. I don't know if you guys have used that before. It's
Yes,
incredible, hey?
yes,
Yeah,
it is.
especially like when if you have lace flies that have hatched, if you missed the first dose with the cedar wood and patchouli and you have to kind of pop in later and you're trying to sort of get some of those flies to get under control, you can wind up skipped ahead there. You can wind up using the cedarwood and the spray, and then I end up putting diatomaceous earth on as well. So it's just you want to be careful sprinkling it. You don't want to breathe it in or anything like that. It is food. You want to use the food grade. And it's not going to hurt anything, even if it gets onto your strawberries. It's you're going to wash them off before you eat them. You can eat a little bit of it. Some people use it for cleansing. Some people use it in baths, all sorts of stuff. But I use it a lot in my garden. I'll just kind of go and sprinkle, especially on the ground where my raspberries and strawberries and stuff are, because it's hard to really weed up in between there. And my plants are sort of getting a little crazy, so I can't get in all those spaces. So I'll just do a little sprinkle with the diatomaceous earth as well. So if we know we have a fungus going on and we know that it's already started, we can treat it by using just a small spray bottle, about like a 4 ounce spray bottle, and 20 drops of tea tree oil. Plants actually quite like tea tree oil, and it'll even make them last longer. A lot of people use a drop of tea tree oil in fresh flowers, and it makes it last a little bit longer. It keeps that funky stuff from growing in the water as much. So what you would do is fill your little bottle with water after you add your 20 drops of tea tree oil and simply spray right onto a plant and its surrounding soil a couple times a week, and you'll notice that that fungus will be gone. You can use that for indoor plants, outdoor plants. Really good spray to have on hand. Now, pest control. If you are making something like I was talking about um, the with the bug sprays, with the worm sprays, anything like that, one of the things that we can do, if you've tried all of these and it's not working, add a little bit of Castile soap. The Castile soap will sort of get rid of any other bug, any aphids. I find this Castile soap works really, really good for aphids if you have an infestation. Sometimes you have to change it up a little bit. So it gives us the option of any of these oils: lavender, cedarwood, peppermint, lemongrass, patchouli. You can simply add 20 drops of any of those oils into the bottle. You can actually add all of them. You can make a nice big mixture and just go for it. This is kind of like a all around bug spray. You have no idea what bug it is in your garden. You just know there's something eating something. You can use this and you'll have all your bases covered. It's awesome. And we do say to use it early in the morning because the sun will help sort of drive all those oils into where it needs to go as well. Now, this is a beautiful protection spray that I actually use just as a preventative. If I don't have any issues and I don't have any bugs and stuff like that, and I just want to do something nice for my plants, what I'll do is mix up this spray, six to about an 8 ounce bottle. You're going to end up adding 8 drops of our TerraShield. That's what we call our repellent blend. 8 drops of cedarwood, and then 8 of lemongrass and 8 of peppermint. So this is the recipe. If you were going to do the previous slide to just kind of make an all natural garden spray without the Castile soap, this would be what you would do to actually nourish your plants, to protect them, to yeah, it's really nice. You can just mix it up in the spray bottle and just give your plants a spritz. It's a nice way to just kind of give them all of the essential oils that they need. They're going to extract exactly what they need from the oils, and anything that they don't will just simply stay on the surface of the plant. Kind of like our bodies. If we sometimes we'll put an oil on and you noticed it just gets sucked right in. It's because our body really needed it. If it's still sitting on your skin after, your body's just absorbing what it needs at the time. So the plants are the same. It's absolutely beautiful. Now, this was my favorite thing that I did last year. I just experimented. I put wild orange in a small bottle with water, and I went around and spritzed my flowers. I spritzed all my annuals, all my perennials. I just spritzed my flower garden. And holy crap, did I have bees. They were
Oh,
literally, even the next day, big bumbles were flying around. It was like, and I couldn't smell the orange anymore, but they sure could. It really attracted them. It was so cool. It was really,
that,
really fun. So yeah, it's really neat to, especially if you have a garden and you don't have flowers, but you want some pollinators around, you're not getting that even like for corn and things like that. I would spray my corn with the wild orange because it's going to bring those bees there to get that pollinating happening. It's really
amazing.
cool.
Wow.
It was really neat. Or even if, there's bees that are going to an area, say you have a party or something like that going on, you can actually go and spray all your flowers and the bees are going to go over there instead of being over where you are. So it's kind of a neat trick.
Thanks.
Isn't that cool?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So this one is a good one to take a screenshot of because it's companion planting, but with oils. So the oils that go really good with a certain vegetable are listed here. So if you were, say, you had carrots and you wanted to make the most out of them, you wanted them to be just the biggest, bushiest, most beautiful, non-fungal carrots that you ever could plant, use rosemary oil. Just by using about 2 gallons of, I literally make my watering can. I have a 2 gallon watering can. And I love doing this for my tomatoes, especially with some basil oil, because I'll just put 5 drops of the basil oil in my watering can. And then I have a stick, I just mix it up and I go around and I water my plants. Now, I'm not watering the plant itself, I'm watering more the soil around it. Because, of course, especially when we are dealing with things like tomatoes, all that kind of stuff, they do not love having water on the leaves and on the fruit. They love having the water in the root system. So I just use this in my watering can. Now, this has used some warm water, add the oils, and then add a little bit of cool water. I definitely did both. Um, did it disperse any better with the warm water? It may have. I'm not 100% sure because I never tested it, but it worked really good no matter what. I'm kind of about making it easy. I have my hose hooked up in the garden, so I just fill up my watering pail, my watering can, and I have my oils out there. I have a 5 bottles. I have my peppermint, I've got my basil, I've got my marjoram, I've got my rosemary, and I've got some thyme. So I just use all of those in my actual garden. Now, not every, some people like to plant what's around there too. Like if you planted basil beside your tomatoes, they would end up doing really well. We're not, if we have 50 tomato plants, we're not going to buy 50 basil plants because we'll go crazy trying to use all that basil. So it's
Yeah.
a great way to do it, right? So you literally just put 5 drops of your oil right into your watering can. So for carrots, I love rosemary. For all my fruit trees, my apple trees, my plums, I go and my raspberries and my blueberries, I will use basil, marjoram, or Melissa. Now, Melissa's a really expensive one, so I tend to go more basil marjoram. And again, you're only using 5 gallons, so or 5 drops for 2 gallons. So it's really not a lot of oils, but they go a really far way. Lettuce loves thyme. I didn't use cilantro last year, but I'm going to try it this year. I just used thyme on my lettuce and it was growing great guns. Like it was just, I had romaine just coming up beautifully and that Grand Leaf Rapids, it was doing so well. And all I was doing is watering around it with the thyme. And I would actually kind of water on top of the lettuce too, because lettuce is okay if you get it a little bit, into the leaves, they're all right. But I do enjoy doing that. Your nightshades, so like your eggplants and your potatoes and things like that, you can use peppermint, basil, or oregano. I've used basil on my potatoes. I really, really like it. I have never had a potato bug in all my years of gardening here with oils. I've never had a potato bug. So, and my neighbors are like picking them off every day. They're cursing the things. So I think it's because of my basil oil. I go crazy with that stuff. I'm all over my tomatoes and my potatoes with basil oil. I love it. Your onions, peppermint or spearmint are really good for those. Again, you're just going to sort of water around the area. And this is something you don't have to do every time. Obviously, I'm not going to walk around my huge garden with a watering can every single day. I'll do it like once a week, twice a week with the oils. And then I will water regularly the rest of the time, except for my tomatoes. My tomatoes, I'll just bring straight up water. Um, and use the basil oil usually about once or twice a week because tomatoes you have to water pretty much every darn day. And peppers, marjoram, geranium, basil all go really well. Again, I've used basil for peppers a lot and it has worked out amazingly. The marjoram, though, I really did like when I started using that. It is a nice smell, but it actually has some real healing properties. So I had some plants that weren't doing so wonderful, and that was where I ended up pulling the marjoram in, and they recovered immensely. And I used it quite a bit on my bean plants. And that was really nice. I was pulling 30 pounds of beans a week out of my garden. Like it was incredible. So basil, this is actually just a testimonial from another person who uses the basil oil as well, Kay. She said that she puts it in her watering can just to give them a dose that can be absorbed through their root system or even a foliar spray. It helps to give that tomato plant great vigor for growth and plant resistance. And boy, tomatoes are not so resistant. They need all the help they can get. And so basil is your key with that. It is just gorgeous.
Mm.
Now, essentially, the essential oils are going to help if there's disease in the plants, if there is, anything kind of going on. So if you're actually using it for a particular pathogen, this says 1 drop for every ounce because if you're doing a planter or a house plant, or if you are doing a raised bed, just go with 1 drop an ounce. If you have a big garden, I'm talking to Adeline here because both of us have these massive gardens, right? Go 3 to 5 drops for an ounce of water just because you're treating a way larger area and you're treating a lot more plants and they get a lot bigger because of the space. So it's just sort of adapting. And the other thing too is you're going to use a little bit more because in a contained bed, obviously, it's going to stay contained, right? When we're putting it in our big gardens, it's spreading big time. It moves. So you can kind of spread it around by having a little bit more oil and having to water just a little bit less. It just makes it a lot easier. So keep that
Mm.
in mind, especially for a house plant if it's not exposed to wind and it's not getting any natural irrigation. Just stick to 1 drop per ounce just so that you're very, very clear on it. Now, vinegar is one of the things we love having in and around the garden. It's so good for so many things. I was talking before about having ways to kind of clean those chemicals off of our plants and stuff like that, right? Or whoops, clean the chemicals off of our veggies, off of our fruits and things like that that we are taking home from the store. So white vinegar is going to do an amazing job. You just use 1.5 liters of water and a tablespoon of white vinegar to wash your veggies. That was how I cleaned all my carrots and all my beans before I was selling them at market, just using white vinegar. If you're preserving flowers, you can use 2 tablespoons of vinegar and a teaspoon of sugar for every ounce of water, or for every liter of water, sorry. And then to kill things like slugs or even weeds, you're going to use full strength or 50-50 vinegar and water to really, like potato bugs, that kind of thing. You can use them. I actually just use like a bowl and I would drop them in there, put the bugs right in there. I wouldn't use this around any plants that I love because vinegar will kind of eradicate those. So this is good for the ones you don't want. If you got dandelions growing through cracks, if you've got plants in an area that you don't want, you can use vinegar full strength and it will be gone. And if you're trying to kind of kill anything in the garden, you can use vinegar and water as well. It is mild, but I do only use this at the beginning or in the fall, just so that the vinegar isn't staying in the soil for the garden. Now, one of my favorite things to do for my tomatoes, especially, is take about 1/4 teaspoon of Epsom salt. And before I plant, I sprinkle the Epsom salts right into the hole. And then I plunk the plant in, and it's like an instant fertilizer. So if you've already planted, no biggie, because what you can do is add some to some water. I have some recipes on the next page here. It's
Great.
basically Epsom salts. That's what we would use for a bath, right? So it's literally the same thing. Super good fertilizer for plants. So you don't want to use too much, of course. We're going to end up using when you're actually digging around or kind of irrigating established plants, you're going to just add a tablespoon to the soil. So I just kind of sprinkle it around. The other way you can do it is by dissolving it in water. So you would use a tablespoon per gallon of water. So you can simply just plunk a tablespoon of this into your watering can, give it a little mix, and every couple of weeks you can water with it. Now, it's not a lot of salt, but it's kind of like when what we do for fish tanks. They just need like a very, very minor amount. And it's amazing what it does for your tomatoes, especially. I don't know if that's why my potatoes were so good last year too, because I was watering them because I had them basically separated by a fence, but kind of in a straight line. So I would just kind of carry on and end up watering my potatoes. And I had a different kind of potato that just grew super well. But I probably did it some good by adding that Epsom salts into those potatoes. And this can go for any plant, any part of your garden, just using a little bit of Epsom salts, not much. You don't need too much, but literally sprinkling some even around the plant is beautiful. And so cheap and so easy. And you can also use a little bit of your Epsom salts. Say you want to do bug control, you want to do fungal control, and you want to fertilize all at the same time. Throw them all in your watering can. It's awesome. Throw a tablespoon of Epsom salts, throw 5 drops of one of your favorite oils, and go ahead and just water. So Epsom salts and basil was my tomato recipe. I just love doing that. And I had the best tomatoes I've ever had last year. In fact, I had such good tomatoes. I sold them all. I didn't even get to can any because everybody was begging me for more tomatoes. They're like, those are amazing. How did you do that? And I don't think I was doing anything different. I used rainwater a lot, which was nice too, and river water when available because plants like that. The well water is always a little shocking. Now, some fun things we can do to scrub our hands clean. We can make our own gardener's hand soap, our own gardener's hand scrub. The sugar, we put a half a cup of sugar and a half a cup of castile soap. Castile soap is just a plain soap base, and I get it at Pennyweight out in Beausejour here, or even at Vita Health. You can get like a really good brand kind of thing. And you don't want to get the scented stuff. You just want to get the regular stuff. And you add a couple tablespoons of your fractionated coconut oil. If you happen to have some vitamin E cream, fabulous. If not, that's okay. You do want to add 15 drops of geranium oil though, or if you have frankincense, lavender, any of those will work well. But geranium will help heal the skin, and we get little cracks and little, you cut yourself a lot in the garden, you get blisters, all sorts of stuff. So this is good for all of that. It's going to help heal the skin, and it's going to moisturize really well, and it smells beautiful too. So even if you just have some coconut oil and some Castile soap and a little sugar and the oil, you are set. You can make yourself a beautiful soap with that.
Mm.
Now, I love using the frankincense if my hands are really, really sore because it gets right into those joints and starts working too. And just on a cellular level, it's so good. It's also very grounding and relaxing. So you just walk in from the garden feeling like $1,000,000. But the other things that really help us for after gardening aches are Deep Blue, marjoram, and Aroma Touch. So you can grab your marjoram from out in the garden and bring it on in and rub it on your hips or your knees or wherever is sore. I love marjoram and Aroma Touch for soft tissue and for legs because it's really going to get that blood flowing. And the Deep Blue is really great to target any of those spots that hurt, like your elbows or your wrists or your shoulders or your low back after being hunched over in the garden. Makes a really big difference whether you use the cream or the oil or just anything. Eat it, use the Deep Blue polyphenols, anything you need to do to get back out there. So I have a couple fun recipes for after the harvest because I love using my oils when I'm cooking with my fresh vegetables and making these beautiful recipes. So black pepper and lime salsa. You only need 3 drops of lime for 6 large tomatoes and like a whole onion. So you don't need a lot. You can use the toothpick method. I don't know if you guys have done that before, but you simply, am I making you drool with the salsa? That's awesome. I just happened to look at you at that exact moment because it's making me drool just thinking of lime and peppers and all fresh from the garden, right? So you just chop up your
Oh my
tomatoes, your half a sweet onion, half a red onion, some serrano peppers or jalapeno peppers. Everybody likes different peppers. You throw your whatever peppers you like in there. A whole green pepper, diced it up really small or chop it. And then you use your toothpick, you dip it right into your bottle, and then you mix it into your salsa. I throw the lime in there. I just love lime and salsa. So I just make 3 drops. The one that is hot is the black pepper, but I'll just end up dripping a whole drop of the black pepper right in there too, and it gives it a bit of a kick, but it's just smoky and beautiful. And all you got to do is mix it up, throw it in a jar, and keep it in the fridge, and it lasts for at least a good week. It's just absolutely beautiful. Or you can even can it. A lot of people do canning with this recipe as well. So if you're a canner, by all means. So with the toothpick method, the deal is with that, the way that it works is that the toothpick absorbs the oils, but you're not going to put too much in, because if you put 5 drops of lime, it's going to taste like lime salsa because it's just so strong. So if you're, not sure if you're getting if you don't want an extra drop in there, just use your toothpick method, and you literally just take the toothpick, dip it in your bottle of oil, and then just swish it around in your recipe, and it works super, super good. All right. So I got another recipe here for basil noodles. Now, we often have squash or zucchini coming out of our yin yang at the end of the year. Those things just tend to multiply. And so if you have a spiralizer, great. If you have the veggie tool, great. If you don't, you can even just shave it. And what you're going to do is use a half of a ripe avocado, some basil, some fresh basil. If you, I just for the pesto type of look, you're going to use garlic cloves, pine nuts, some Parmesan cheese, and then a little bit of fresh lemon juice. Now you could use lemon oil as well, and I have done that with avocado. We use the lemon juice mostly to stop the browning happening in the avocado, so it makes it stay nice and green. But I have used just lemon oil with it too, and it worked just as well. You're going to use your veggie noodle tool. You're going to end up putting your basil, avocado, your basil essential oil, your garlic, pine nuts, lemon juice, Parmesan cheese, and a bit of water, and you just food process it and add a little bit of salt. And you're going to just literally warm up your squash or zucchini, and you're just going to add that right on top, and it is beautiful. It's just so delicious. And of course, people that like making pesto, they will probably have other recipes, but using just a little bit of that basil oil, just a couple drops, is just so amazing. It's just, oh, it's got such a good flavor. So the best is coming. Getting the oils, getting them in your garden. A lot of people don't know how to even get these oils in their hands. So we do have a few ways to do that. We can buy at retail, which is kind of expensive, so we tend not to tell you to do that. We can get you set up with a wholesale account with whatever oils you want. It's just a small membership fee, just like Costco. Then you're set up for the whole year, and you can get our discount, which is 25% below retail for the rest of the year on all of your oils. And we also have other programs that you can get points back. You can get free shipping. You can get all sorts of stuff. They make it really easy. So if whoever invited you tonight, just let them know that you are ready. We have a few kits that are going on this summer. There's some really awesome ones where we have something as simple as the deep blue rub with the lemon, the On Guard for our immunity, and Serenity to help you sleep. That's one of my favorite kits. A lot of people go for that. You get your membership with it so that you are set and ready to go for the whole year. You can get the wholesale price. It's just fabulous. And man, do you need that deep blue after being in the garden. Now, this is actually 5 ml bottles. I meant to change these last night when I realized that they were 15 ml advertised, but it's actually 5 ml bottles. You get your deep blue, you get a digestion oil, you get oregano, you get lemon, you get lavender, you get tea tree, you get your breathing blend, you get frankincense, all for $200. It's crazy. Super good deals, and a gorgeous diffuser. So there are kits like that. There is our fun summer kit that is just a temporary time that has hand wipes in it, has our Correct X, which is basically any cut, any wound that you get. Even I've been treating mosquito bites. A lot of kids I've seen this year have mosquito bites that are just oozing. I guess it's from these new mosquitoes, the bionic ones that have hatched this year. They're causing allergic reactions. They're causing like blistering. So I've been putting Correct-X on, not on my kids, but all the other kids I take care of. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. This has our lip balm in it, which is just to die for, and our Terra Shield, which I'm like ordering that stuff by the vat right now. I love our Terra Shield spray. And then you've got your lavender for burns, any blisters, any sunburn even that's happening. So a beautiful kit that is really only available right now. It's retailing at 146 67, and the wholesale price is only $110 for all of that. So absolutely amazing, and we won't be able to get that deal all the time. That's just special. And this month we have some really cool things happening. There's 10% off of our rose all month long, which very rarely happens. You get a free fennel, which I'm going to tell you about right away. And you can get our, with 125 PV order, you can get our summer kit. We have some special Canadian oils that are out right now for just Canadian customers for a very limited time. And we also have our Aroma Touch kit, which is an amazing deal. It gives you the class with it. You can, if you guys haven't heard about Aroma Touch, man, we need to talk. Aroma Touch is absolutely incredible. Totally recreates homeostasis in the body. And you're just dripping oils up the spine and spreading them in just beautiful ways. So you can treat your friends and family with that. You can do it yourself. So good. So fennel is a really neat one because it's sort of one of those unassuming oils. It is good for so many things, like boosting your metabolism, increasing circulation, all these really good things that I really didn't know of, as well as some really amazing emotional properties. It's very calming, but it actually gives you some of that vigor. So it's like it's one of the motivating oils that keeps you grounded, believe it or not. Different than citrus or anything like that. It's not like a happy oil. It's like, let's get this done. It's my driver oil. I love it.
Mm.
Also super good for your stomach if you're having indigestion, if you're having any tummy troubles. Fennel is one of those ones that is just amazing. So to promote healthy digestion, if people aren't taking probiotics or enzymes, I tell them to take some fennel. And it also helps your liver. It's a really good liver cleanser. It's really good for helping to promote healthy liver, and also good for blood flow. So that's something we would want to take internally. The fennel oil works amazing for that. So there's a couple of diffuser blends that we use the fennel with lime or with bergamot. Super uplifting, super grounding, and just feeling good and ready to hit the road. Digestion blend, we use 20 drops of ginger and fennel in a roller with coconut oil. Absolutely incredible. If you happen to have fennel and ginger around and you don't have the DigestZen, you are set. So that was it for my big spiel. Sorry, I talked very fast, but I'm so grateful for you guys hanging out tonight. Was there any? Did you? I know Michelle's computer died on her. I felt really bad.
Oh,
So we did lose her, but I'm gonna send her the recording after because she is a good friend of mine. And how about you, Adeline? Did you have any questions now that I rattled all those off?
no, awesome presentation.
Awesome.
You are awesome.
Good.
So was Rosetta, but
Oh, it's
uh,
Rosetta. She does all this. All I do is yabber.
no, 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 don't ever say that. The zinc oxide, where do I get that?
I
I haven't marked. I got a big scribbler, and I haven't marked because I do a lot of DIYs.
Nice.
And
Yeah.
where do I get zinc oxide?
To be honest, my best deal that I found and the best quality that I found was on Amazon. I don't
Real.
love Amazon, and I've ordered probably three things from Amazon in my life, but one of them is zinc oxide. And that
Oh,
I was so
oh,
happy with. Yeah. In
yeah.
fact, now that we have sunscreen and I'm not doing markets anymore, I have a bag of it that I bought that is still sealed that you are welcome to if you want it. Because I'm
Oh,
just going to be ordering doTERRAs from now on because I used to make them all the time, right? But
right, right.
yeah, yeah,
I can't remember what I want to make. Like I have to look back.
it was
Okay, and
probably a sunscreen, I'm thinking.
it could be.
I'm thinking.
How do we meet? Yes, I'd love to. How much is the
Yeah.
bag?
I don't even know. It wasn't expensive though, honestly. I'll figure it out and let you know for sure. But I can leave it at work for you. I can leave it at the physio clinic. And when you're rolling through town, you can just hop by there and Jessica will know it's there for you.
Sure.
Yeah,
You know what? I don't
anytime.
know if I have your, do you mind if I text you?
No, that's
Uh,
awesome.
I
Yeah,
don't
that's
have,
awesome.
can you give me your number? Do you
Yeah.
mind?
Nope, not at all. I will put it in the chat for you actually. What I'm gonna do is
Thank you.
stop sharing. My pleasure. So thank you everyone.